Hi, I'm Patty DeBoer. I'm the interim superintendent of the Mashpee Public Schools, and we're here today to share some of our exploration of school start times in Mashpee. We formed a committee in November of 2015. It has about 17 members on it, which includes some teachers and parents and administrators. And what we did was we started by looking at the research that is out there in terms of the adolescent brain and the impact of sleep. We're coming to the conclusion that a later school start time is in the best interest of our adolescent students in our grades 7 through 12. And the purpose behind the exploration is to be able to make a recommendation to the school committee in November, and they will move forward and make the final decision as to whether Mashpee is going to change their start time at the middle high school. We are also planning to change the start time at the elementary level to a later start time. So as the plan is currently evolving, we would have an 8:30 start time at the Mashpee Middle High School and a 9 o'clock and 9:05 start time for the Quashnet and the Coombs School. The goal in this recommendation in having a later school start time is purely for the health and wellness of our adolescent students. The research shows that the development of the brain is at a very precarious place during those adolescent years, and that once a student has reached young adulthood into their 20s, they are better able to make decisions and sort of fit themselves into the hustle and bustle of the everyday world.
So the Mashpee Public Schools Start Time Committee has been working for the past year to gather information and data to inform a decision about later school start times. This is something that's being explored not only throughout the Cape and Island schools, but also throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. As we've done our work, a lot of our data has showed that medically, our adolescents from grades 7 through 12 benefit greatly from an extra hour of sleep, as their brains are developing and their melatonin levels are different from adults and from younger students. It doesn't necessarily kick in until later in the evening. And the health benefits of getting enough sleep for our adolescents result in a decrease in social and emotional health issues and an increase in achievement, attendance, and overall engagement. As an administrator, our job is to make decisions in the best interest of students, and first and foremost, their health and well-being is our top priority. When students are healthy, when students are alert and engaged, they learn and achieve at a much higher rate. So I think that looking at this as an opportunity is not only an opportunity for us to improve as schools, but it's an opportunity for us to improve the lifestyles and well-being of our kids.
My name is Brian Brody. I've been a teacher here at Mashpee High School for this is my 18th year, and I'm the department head of history and social studies. And I've served on the school start time committee since its inception. And one thing that's kind of interesting about that is when I first started here, we had the same time periods every day. So if you met in the U.S. history class first period, you met first period every day of the week. And when we had our first scheduling committee at the high school level, we decided we would rotate. And the reason for that was that the kids were often very tired in the morning, and then in the afternoon they would perform better. And we've sat with the schedule now for well over 10 years. And when I started on this committee, one of the things we looked at was data about students, and anecdotally you look at your own classrooms, and certainly I try to avoid giving tests first period in the day. The reason for that is when my students tend to be the least active, the least alert, and as the day goes on, participation levels tend to increase, enthusiasm increases, and having sat and listened, looking at the studies and scientific studies that are out there with high school students' sleeping patterns, it's clear that we are not scheduling for the best time of the day. In fact, several of the doctors who we've met with have stated that we'd be better off starting at 11, which of course is not going to happen, but the ability to start the day an hour later, 8:30, which we traditionally are starting our second block of the day, I would expect to see a more engaged student population every morning. And it shouldn't impact in the afternoon, because as the day goes on, these kids are kind of hitting their peak. And now when they're hitting their peak, we're dismissing them for the day.
As a student, I would definitely say that when we have delayed starts because of snow days or anything like that, you definitely see kids that are more awake and ready to learn when they come in. Less people are stopping at Dunkin' Donuts in the morning to get their morning coffee that usually they don't people don't start doing until they're adults, but you can see that a lot of children are doing that today. Kids are late showing up to school because they're going to Dunkin' Donuts, or not waking up in the morning because they're staying up too late to do homework or any other activities. As a student that takes many AP classes and is very involved in different clubs and activities, I would definitely say that sleep is very important. My goal is to get to bed before it's the next day, so with this later start time, I feel like we'd be able to get homework done or any activities, especially with a block schedule or anything like that. Pushing it back would definitely be beneficial.
When I went to medical school, there was no instruction or didactic knowledge about sleep. Sleep studies and sleep awareness came about in the late 80s. And I spent a lot of time studying sleep and its benefits. We knew nothing about it then, and now we know it's the most healing thing we have. 30 or 40 years of research done by scientists and physicians on sleep issues, and adolescent health as well. And a couple of years ago, the American Academy of Pediatrics came out with a position statement in stating that the lack of sleep that our adolescents are getting in high school and in middle school is a public health issue. Sleep deprivation is an illness that results in a variety of illnesses or comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension, obesity, low self-esteem, and perhaps that's the worst because it doesn't allow the student to be as good as he can be, and sometimes depression.
The research shows this really is ideal, and you know, I do think that changes the school themselves are willing to make, if this happens, go way beyond any of the changes that families will have to make this happen. You know, they're really bending over backwards and facilitating all kinds of support and changing the whole structure of the day and everything. Like, I think there's a lot of motivation out there, and you know, I like the progressive mindset of really looking at, hey, what haven't we been doing as best as, you know, we can, and change it to really make it awesome for everyone. And I know the Mashpee school system, since I've been here in just 4 years, has made, in my opinion, so many amazing changes, and you can see the positive effects of those. And I think this will be another one if it gets the support I think it really deserves. Because healthy kids, you know, that means a healthy family.
When you look at this, there are a lot of moving parts. We have families that have children in multiple schools at multiple age levels. And one of the big concerns we talk about often is latchkey families, families that depend on an older sibling to get home first and to watch a younger sibling. And that's part of our society, and that's a very integral part of our family dynamics right now. As we look at that, it's important to consider what programs we offer. In the way in which we're looking at this model, all schools would start later. And most districts will flip the times between the middle high school level and the elementary levels. In this case, we'd be extending the times later for all. And in that case, you'd be able to address that concern, number one. But the other thing is, you know, what about parents that go to work early, that have two parents that work? You know, that's our community. And most of our parents are working people. And we have to be able to address that and to provide programming. Our superintendent has done a really masterful job of looking at all those entities and putting together programming that would be free of charge to families in order to help them through that transitionary period. All of our data can be found on the Mashpee Public Schools website under the School Committee tab. There's a tab there that says School Start Time, and all of our information, our data, videos, links to medical journals and you know, pertinent articles, as well as all of the work that we've done is completely documented there, including what may ultimately become a proposal to the school committee come November. So we encourage you to access that, to read on it, and to really become familiarized with it, as it does have a significantly positive impact on student outcomes at the middle high school level.